RTX 3090 Ti, now under $1,250. RTX 3080s, now well under $800. What is going on in the GPU market in August 2022, where we are seeing high-end cards like your RTX 3090s and your 3080 Ti's now coming under their MSRPs, and you're seeing 3080s come back down to a more normal level. But when we look at RTX 3060s and RTX 3050s, they're still well above MSRP. And so at this stage, you may be wondering, what is going on with graphics card pricing? Well, in today's video, we're going to be updating you guys with some quality information for this month, something that you can take home. And later on in the video, we'll also talk about the price of Ethereum moving back up, where people are afraid that miners are going to come back in and buy up more GPUs, which I don't feel that's something to be worried about at all, given the current environment. So let's get on to discuss all these things right after today's sponsor spot.
Never pay full price for Windows 10 or 11 again. With today's video sponsor, SCD Keys, you can get activated for as little as $15 using that coupon BFTYC. Links in the description below.
Welcome back to Tech Yes City, and that RTX 3090 price. Let's pull that up, where we have seen this go in the recent months all the way down from $2,000 MSRP down to $1,600, down to $1,400, and now it's coming down to $1,250. In fact, there was reports that the 3090 Ti could be had for $1,150 from EVGA's website themselves. Now, this is one of the biggest price drops I have seen in the history of GPUs, but that should tell you something about the supply and demand of the GPU itself. And so if we're looking at the $2,000 price point, it's quite simple. There wasn't the demand for an RTX 3090 Ti at $2,000, especially if someone wants to go out and buy this high-end card. Then they're going to think about, well, I'm going to need a little bit more than a 1080p monitor for this graphics card because it's just going to be wasted money. So then they're going to have to think about buying maybe an expensive 4K monitor, an expensive motherboard and CPU, and get the whole kit. And they could end up easily spending $5,000 plus just to get a setup around that 3090 Ti. So I think a lot of people out there, when they see these 3090 Ti's come down in price even to $1,250, they put together a wish list and they still think, whoa, this is still expensive as f. And what we just described then is the sole reason why the 3090 Ti is dropping in price faster than the 3080 Ti and the 3080s. Even though they're dropping in price, they're just not dropping as fast as the 3090 Ti. And that's simply because the demand isn't there, but also on the other side of the fence, the supply also has to be there to accommodate these price drops. And what we've seen in the last year is Nvidia definitely making a lot more higher end cards than they're used to. And that was because this came off the back of the cryptocurrency miners buying up all these high-end cards. It didn't matter what it was. If it was an RTX 3070, a 3070 Ti, even with low hash rates, a 3080 Ti, a 3090, 3090 Ti, didn't matter what was coming out, crypto miners were buying them up. So Nvidia definitely wanted to get out the cards that had the highest profit margins for them. And so lo and behold, that was the RTX 3090 Ti. And what we've seen is a massive oversupply of these cards because suddenly the crypto demand fell off a cliff when Ethereum dropped suddenly in price. And with that sudden drop in Ethereum price came a sudden drop in mining profitability. And that is the only reason a crypto miner is going to be buying up a GPU, is to mine and make profit. Though with that information, how does all this help you if you want to buy a GPU today, whether it's used or new? Well, this is where I recommend both the used and new market. The only thing I recommend you always do is get the best deal for yourself. And what I'm seeing right now is these high-end cards, there's simply a mass desperation to sell them, hence the rapid price drops. And I've heard people say, well, Brian, the prices have come down so much, Nvidia's never going to do this again. This is a one-time thing. I've never seen Nvidia do this in the history of GPUs. And my counter to that argument would be, well, I've never seen Nvidia or AMD or Intel have to sell products through a high US inflation environment. And so the economic turbulence that you're seeing in 2022 isn't just affecting the lives of ordinary people. Sooner or later, it's going to start affecting the companies like Nvidia, Intel, and AMD. Though as for GPU prices this month, if you had to go out and get a GPU what should you get? And this is where I've been tracking the low end as well as the mid range and the high end products on the new market and the used market. And what I'm seeing here for new, if I was to buy a new, especially on the low and medium range, I'd be buying AMD's cards. The RX 6600 is coming around that $250 price point. That seems to kind of have stabilized, hasn't come down anymore. Then we're looking at the RX 6700 XT. They are my two favorite cards from AMD. And if we contrast that to the RTX 3050 and RTX 3060, they are still well above MSRP. And what I find a little bit odd about the RTX 3060 was even if I track this card on Amazon, it's still in stock 1 hour later with the same stock levels. This is for the cheapest 3060 on Amazon. Now, Amazon is a massive marketplace. They do huge volumes. And the fact that an RTX 3060, the cheapest on the site, is still sitting there an hour later with the same stock that it had an hour ago means that a whole lot of people aren't really buying up these RTX 3060s at their current price point. So in other words, if you wanted to get an RTX 3050 or an RTX 3060, I would hold off until the prices drop further. Then moving on to those higher end cards. Here is where we're looking at that RTX 3090 Ti. If you could pick one up for $1,150 and say you're a video editor and you needed one of the fastest cards for video editing, this card would kind of make sense at this price. And in fact, you can get an RTX 3090 off the used market for around $800 to $900 as well. So it's always good to look at your options. However, RTX 4000 series, the rumors are still very strong that we're going to see a release later this year. And there's also other channels that have reported, for instance, the Frame Chasers, they reported that EVGA have stopped doing their affiliate bucks program, EVGA bucks, from September, meaning that people who have earned money via affiliate links would then not be able to use those affiliate dollars to, say, buy a graphics card from their website after September 2022. So why would they do that if the RTX 4000 series was delayed a lot longer than people were saying? And this comes back to the age-old saying, money talks, bullshit walks. And that is, talk is cheap, always follow the money. And if we follow the money, it would indicate that yes, we are seeing a launch from AMD and Nvidia later on this year with their newer high-end graphics cards. I don't think companies are going to hold out from releasing their graphics cards until you buy up all their stock, where one competitor could release their graphics card earlier than the other and have a serious, huge edge on the market. So it's better for these companies to discount their products, get rid of their old stuff, and then ultimately let the new products flow through to the market and do their job in offering better price performance, especially on the high end. Now, also on that note of money talks, let's look at the economic data in the broader economy, where I like to, at Tech Yes City, tie this in to let you guys have an informed decision going forward on where you should be either putting your money or, of course, if you should be saving your money. And if we look at the Federal Reserve of America, they have stopped the money printers at the start of this year. And since then, we've actually seen a lot of negative data and a lot of downturn in not just the economy itself, but also stock markets, real estate prices, and of course, graphics card prices. Now, the longer these printers stay off, the cheaper things are going to get, all else considered. And also, we're going to see interest rates go higher than expected. And the main reason for this is because the governments all around the world, not just the US, they have an insatiable hunger for cheap money. However, when this insatiable hunger makes it so that the money isn't cheap anymore, then there's only one thing that can happen, and that is interest rates will have to go up, whether it's by the official Fed fund rates itself, or of course by the market determining those interest rates for those US government bonds. And this is exactly what we've been seeing. We've seen aggressive interest rate hikes as well, meaning that not just the government itself is going to have a hard time paying off that debt, but also say the average individual with a mortgage on a home, they're going to have to make higher repayments on those mortgages, coupled in with the fact that inflation is at 9.1%, making all their regular everyday activities and expenses higher as well, meaning they have less discretionary income to spend on something like a graphics card and even a CPU. If we look at Intel's quarterly results and we combine that with AMD's quarterly results, we can see that the broader market itself has actually dropped for tech products in 2022. Now, we will be making a dedicated video talking about this situation, what I'm calling the tech recession, via proof of the numbers. So if we grab that information and then contrast it back to what we've been saying over the last year, and that is there's going to be this period of golden times for GPU buyers or people wanting to build a gaming PC. And that is when this oversupply is coming through the market. And of course, a lot of people don't have the discretionary available. The prices will have to drop. And I believe that peak has not even come close to hitting the market yet. So my advice is still, if you're waiting for the best deal possible, still hold out. The final thing we'll talk about is that Ethereum price, and that has moved up from its low of around $1,000, now back to around $1,700 as of the time of making this video. But if we look at those mining profitabilities, they're still much lower than they were even in, say, September 2020, where I do remember checking out the profitability of an RTX 3080, and that was well over $2 a day. So we're seeing that it's $1.30 a day now, given the current price of Ethereum at $1,700, but Ethereum wasn't $1,700 in September 2022. And so what this means ultimately is there's a lot more people trying to mine Ethereum than there was in 2020, to the point where even if the price is significantly higher than it was and the profitability per coin is still higher than it was in 2020, the actual people trying to get those coins has increased much higher than the price, meaning the profitability has dropped in tandem. And as for that price of Ethereum, overall, I only see it going down the longer these conditions exist in the economy. And that is, I don't have to go out and buy Ethereum. In fact, I've never used Ethereum in my day-to-day life, but things like food, power, water, these have all gone up in my area. And so I'm going to be spending more of my money on those things that I actually need, as opposed to something like Ethereum, coupled in with the fact that those interest rates are only set to go higher. The money printers are actually going to start spinning in reverse and start destroying money. And this means that the price of Ethereum will go down, and in turn, the prices of GPUs from commercial miners will start getting dumped on the market, fearing that their hardware will become obsolete and they might as well sell it before the next guy and get more money while they can before the prices drop even further. The last part of this video will quickly touch on the used market, and I absolutely love the used market. In fact, my whole channel, some would say, has been built off the back of the used market and the price performance that it can offer. And here's where this market will always offer a unique opportunity to get extremely good price performance. You've just got to know what you're looking for, and of course, if the deal is really good, you have to be quick to snap it up. And here's where I'll refer you guys to my used parts hunt recently I did. I'm personally looking, one of my favorites at the moment is used RTX 2000 series cards. For instance, I picked up an RTX 2080 for under $300 in a recent parts hunt, and I also got an RTX 3000 series off the used market, a Seahawk edition, for $580. And this is one of the best you can get in terms of models, and the card looked like, upon closer inspection, it was brand new. But of course, the used market is not for everyone, and I will be making some videos here at Tech Yes City updating you, especially once we see a huge flood of these used mining GPUs hit the market. I will update you guys with some particular buying advice and what to look out for so you don't get scammed off the used market. So the risks are there, but of course, if you know what you're doing, you can always pick up a good deal off the used market. So if you want to know when these videos come out, then make sure you hit that sub button, ring that bell, and you'll get notified as soon as they do come out. Though with that aside, we got the question of the day here, which comes from 13, and they ask, hello, is $200 enough to buy a gaming PC with an RX 470 4GB graphics card? And $200 is definitely enough to build an RX 470 system. You'd want to be picking up the 4070 for say around $80, and then you can put that in say just a pre-built OEM for around $120. That would probably be the best way to do it without spending a whole lot of time looking for unique deals. But of course, if you've got a lot of time and patience and you know where to look, you can definitely put together something for $200 that's maybe not an OEM, it's got a little bit more price performance going for it, and it will give you a better end result. Though do let us know in the comments section below what you guys think of GPU prices, what you think of the new, the used market. Love reading your thoughts and opinions as always. And with that aside, I'm going to get on out of here, and I'll catch you in another tech video very soon. Peace out for now. Bye.
I feel out of place. The roads aren't the same.